Alright, welcome back fight fans to another monstrosity of a card. Nah, this one's okay for a fight night, and the main card actually looks pretty decent. I've had a really big boost in subscribers lately, so many thanks to everyone who is new and old here. You are all absolute legends. We are so close to 100 subscribers now. Anyway, let's get right into this. I expect my record is going to get severely tested in this one. So the first of 3 landmines on the card. Cohen is not very good, but I'm going to pick her here. And I've changed my mind about 40 times on this one while I was doing my research. So bet the house on Vidal, I guess. I never do learn. Vidal's strike output is higher, and she does have 1 KO on her record, which came in her last bout, which was alright. Look at that Giga Chad chin on her as well. She didn't look great against Pascual before finishing her with a standing flying knee, which for me was a little bit lucky, and she has fought women with better records than Cohen, who has basically fought tomato cans. Despite that, Cohen is very decent at range, and I think scraping through her Contender Series fight will have her working harder in the gym for this one. I also expect her to be stronger in the clinch, where she's very good with knees up the middle and elbows to the face. One thing I can promise is that this fight is going to be shit. It's women's MMA, go flip a coin, I'm done here. Cohen, Vidal, whatever, moving on. Alright, now the card really starts. This is a good matchup and very even. Both men have TKO and submission wins and losses on their records. I'm going to take Altermirano though, who has slightly less of an output than Salvador, but has been far more accurate with his strikes. He also has an extensive amateur record. Mexicans are being heavily pushed in the UFC lately, with 2.5 champions currently on the roster. I'm not going to be betting on this one personally, but I'm slightly leaning Altermirano for carrying a better takedown threat. He also has the UFC jitters out the way, with Salvador having his first fight for the promotion. Salvador does have some KOs recently, so this is a risky one. I'm not that confident, but I'm going to take the Mexican fighter here. Lord, this is another slippery one. I'm going to take Torres. Ogden is coming off a unanimous win and looked pretty good in that one. I just think in a fight that I expect to be really close and go to decision, I have to favour the man with the greater output. And Torres is busier standing and cracking. Torres has also shown he can finish, and he just beat up Frank Camacho, who is a pretty good fighter. Torres' only losses have come by submission, and Ogden has a very high percentage of submissions on his record, so again, this is a risky one. I think Torres will manage to keep this fight standing though, and stay away from any ground nonsense, and I just think he has a massive advantage on the feet. So yeah, I'm edging the younger Torres, but this is another risky one. I'm going to take CJ Vergara. He just lost to Tatsuro Taira, who is one of my favourite flyweight prospects, and he survived to the second round against that killer. He also had Tyro in really big trouble at the end of the first round, almost got him out of there. Daniel De Silva, on the other hand, has just lost 3 on the bounce, and one of them was to Francisco Figueiredo, who is just shite. He got knee-barred in that fight way too easily for me and showed some really amateur shit there. He's young and has time to grow, but I think he's going to have a hard time in this one against the bigger CJ, who has better competition on his record, despite some questionable losses. I think they're very even on the feet, but if it goes to a clinch game, which I expect, I think CJ will be stronger and has more advantages there. Another tough pick, but De Silva's confidence is low, and he knows he's cut if he loses this one, which is so much pressure for a fighter so young. I'm going to take CJ by unanimous decision. And this card continues to be difficult. I don't rate either of these guys. I'm going to side with Trevin Giles though. Parsons looked okay in moments against Daniel Rodriguez and pretty much got worn out and chinned. So I think this is going to cause him to be a little gun shy in this one. Parsons is quite predictable on the feet and relies on takedowns and control time on top to have success. And I think Trevin will be strong enough to keep this from happening. This is going to end up being a sloppy stand and bang fight, and it will come down to whoever hurts the other first. Giles got absolutely destroyed in 2 of his last 3, but that was against Duplessis and Morales, who are very good middleweights. Parsons isn't that. This one won't be pretty or skilled. I just think Giles has been hit by better strikers and Parsons won't be able to hurt him as badly. Got Giles for the win, but barely. Okay, Petterson is not great, but Alexander should not be in the UFC. Petterson is pretty scrappy, very tough to get out of there, and I just think he's going to wear Alexander down. He's very experienced, and I don't think Alexander's going to be able to surprise him with anything new in there. Having the Superman tattoo emblemed on his chest does make me think he might have been dropped on his head as a child, but I haven't seen anything from his opponent to make me feel he can finish Petterson with a big shot, and that for me is his best chance. Petterson also went to a split loss with Julian Erosa, who despite a sketchy record himself is a tough out. I think Petterson will edge this, and they should both be instantly fired in the cage just after the fight is over. Alright, this is the last fight on a really tricky prelims, and one of the fights I'm actually more confident about. I'm going to take Tucker Lutz. Pineda is very decent, he's got great experience, but he's 37 years old, and I have to play the stats here as well as the eye test. Lutz has had a really good amateur record where he went 7-0, so he really is 19-2 in his fight career, and I think this matters. The loss he had to Sabatini was acceptable for me, and it was by narrow decision, so he's proven he can go in there and last for the 3 rounds. Pineda has also had a series of cancelled bouts and hasn't fought in almost 3 years. I think the first round is going to be a feeling out process, and Lutz will be given time to get comfortable, eventually catching him and putting him down. I'm picking Lutz to win by ground and pound or sub finish after knocking him to the ground. Okay, as I said, this is a tough prelim card with a lot of risky ones here. I'd avoid most of them. I'm personally only going to be playing CJ and Lutz on this side of the card. I'll see you again tomorrow for the breakdown of the main card, which has 6 more nice matchups. Have a really great night. Thanks again for subscribing. If you're new here, please hit that button, and I'll see you all in a bit.